Hello friends, schoolsteps.in welcomes you again. In this tutorial we'll discuss low bit ambient and burn-in protection techniques. We will implement both in our project. For Android Wear devices there are many types of screens. There are certain screens that require low bit ambient and burn-in protection. Both low bit ambient and burn-in protection techniques are used in the ambient mode. The watch face API for Android Wear requires special considerations with certain screens that need low bit ambient and burn-in protection. Android Wear devices feature a variety of screen technologies. Each has its own advantages and considerations. One important consideration when designing the ambient mode display for your watch face is how it affects the battery life and screen burn-in on some screens. You can configure your watch face to display different ambient designs depending on the kind of screen available on the device. Screen burn is a permanent discoloration of areas on an electronic display. So let's talk about the low bit ambient mode first and then we'll talk about the burn-in protection. Some displays use a reduced color space in the ambient mode to save power. One reduced color space power saving method is to use a low bit mode. In the low bit mode, the available colors are limited to black, white, blue, red, magenta, green, cyan and yellow. When designing for the low bit ambient mode, use a black or white background. For OLED screens, you must use a black background. Known background pixels must be less than 10% of your total pixels. You should also disable anti-aliasing for this mode. Then there are other displays that save power in the ambient mode by not producing any color. When designing for the displays which do not use any color in the ambient mode, the background may be either black or white. Now let's talk about the burn protection techniques. When designing for OLED screens, you should consider power efficiency and the screen burn-in effect. When these screens are in ambient mode, the system shifts the contents of the screen periodically by a few pixels to avoid pixel burn-in. So we should take care of following things while applying the burn protection techniques. Do not use large blocks of pixels in your ambient mode designs and keep 95% of the pixels black. Replace solid shapes in your regular ambient mode designs with the outline shapes in the burn protected ambient mode. Replace filled images with the pixel patterns. For analog watch face designs, hollow out the center where the hands meet to avoid pixel burn-in this mode. Now let's programmatically look into how to work for the screens that need low bit ambient and burn-in protection. Open Android Studio and open the project My Watch Faces. This is the project on which we worked last. From the Wear module, open the class analogwatchfaceservice.java. Now in this particular file, we need to work on the method onPropertiesChanged. In one of our previous tutorials, we declared the variable boolean mLowBitAmbient. Let me cut it from here and let me paste it just above the method onPropertiesChanged. And along with that, we need to declare one more variable, that is boolean mBurninProtection. Now inside the onPropertiesChanged method, we need to figure out if the screen requires a low bit ambient and burn-in protection. And to figure out that, we need to say low bit ambient is equal to properties. Properties we are getting as a parameter from here dot get boolean, and in the parameter we need to pass one key. So let's say property low bit ambient, comma, the default value is, let's say, false. In the similar way, we need to say burn-in protection is equal to properties dot get boolean. Right here we need to say property burn-in protection, comma, false. So if this value is true, that means screen requires low bit ambient. If this value is true, then it means screen requires burn-in protection. If both values are true, that means screen requires both. Now in case of emulator, both the values will be false. So to test our program, we need to set both the values to true explicitly. Let me place one logger here. Now next we need to work on the onAmbient mode changed, which is right here. So inside this method, just above the invalidate method, we need to put two if conditions. The first if condition is if low bit ambient is true, then do something. The second if condition is if burn-in protection is true, then do something. So if you remember, in the beginning of the tutorial, we mentioned that in case of low bit ambient, we need to set the anti-alias to false. Let's do that. So we need to say rpaint dot set anti-alias. Inside the parameters, we need to say in ambient mode. That means if ambient mode is true, then set anti-alias to false, else set it to true. In the similar way, we need to set the same thing on the minute paint, second paint and ticker paint. Let's do it quickly. Now the next thing that we need to do is we need to set the color of ticker text paint to white in case of low bit ambient. So we need to say ticker text paint dot set color. So if the mode is ambient, then set the color to white, else set the color to red. Now let's talk about the burn-in protection. If the screen requires this, then we need to take certain actions. Let's change the stroke width of R and minute hands. So we need to say rpaint dot set stroke width. So if we are in the ambient mode, then make it 3F, else let it be 5F, which is the original value. Make it 3.F and 5.F. In the similar way, let's set the stroke width for the minute paint. Original value is 3.F, and in case of the burn-in protection, we have made it to 2.F. Now let me put some log statements quickly. That is it. Let's run our program now. Here is the output of our program. Let's click on the button to go in the ambient mode. You can see that the text color of 12, 3, 6 and 9 has been changed to white. The width of the R hand and the second hand has been reduced. Let's move out of the ambient mode to bring it back. That is it. Friends, with this I take your leave. Thank you so much. Please like our page on facebook.com/letsandroid. If you have any query, do write us at info@schoolsteps.in or schoolstepsin@gmail.com. Thank you.